Hello, awesome people. Welcome to VP's Wealth Radio. This is Vijay Prakash, author of Amazon number one best-selling book, Slumdog Investor. So, today being Tuesday, we are supposed to talk about the author's ritual. And this section, especially, I cover for people who want to become an author. And as our today's title suggests, that 7 myths which will stop you from writing your number one bestseller. Okay. So let's get started and let's take a look at the first myth, what we have. So the first myth, what we have is, I am not good enough to write, or I am not good enough to be a writer, right? People think that you have to be a certain kind of a person or certain kind of a language you should have so that you will be able to become a writer. And that is because you think that everything you are supposed to do it, right? I have told you in my previous videos also that book writing is something which you have to treat it like a more of a movie making. Now, I am somebody who has studied in a Hindi medium school. I am somebody who went to a semi-government school, right? I am somebody who was little frightened to speak English language till certain years. So if I can do it, why can't you? Right? So all of us have written our examinations. All of our are good enough to write. Don't think that we need a Shashi Tharoor level of English to write our book, because the book you are going to write, you are going to write so that even an average person can read it. If it has a difficult language, then it is very, very difficult to read by rest of the folks. So honestly, how many of you really understand what Shashi Tharoor speaks? I mean, of course, he has a remarkable Oxford English, but ask yourself, how many of you are able to understand? Let's say he speaks for half an hour, you will be able to understand everything whatever he's speaking, right? So what I'm telling you is, in order to be a writer, you just need to write in average language, not a flowery language which everybody can understand. Because what is the purpose of the book? The purpose of the book is to share your message. Okay. So I hope I have broken your myth that you have to be a certain person or a certain level of person to be a writer. We can always hire a language specialist or a content writer to polish our language, but the original content has to be yours. The message, what you want to give to the world, has to be yours. I would definitely encourage people who are into coaching business to write a book, because that gives you altogether a different level. Okay. So I have started mentoring people in terms of book writing. I have decided that by next quarter I will bring 10 authors, help them write their book. So 2 are already in progress, 8 more to go. So hopefully when I share this section in March, we will have 10 people who would have published their book by then. Okay. So let's look at the myth number 2. I am not qualified enough to be a writer, or I'm not qualified enough to write a book, right? Now, do you think, take a look at the books which are available in the market. Do you think everybody who has written a book were qualified in a certain way? Right? They were not. And if you will really look at people who write in terms of a self-help or in terms of success principles, those principles are same. It is just a perspective which everybody is bringing again, right? All the great books which are written in past, those books have already success principle and everything what we need, but still we come up with a lot of books. So trust me, there are no degree, no qualification. Don't think that you have to be a PhD. If the qualification was to have a PhD, then only you can write a book. Then we will have a very less number of writers. So it is not about the qualification, as I said. It is about your message. What message you want to give to the world? That is what will become kind of a title or the content of the book. So you don't have to be qualified, right? You just need to have a message to write a book, right? So for every book, there will be a purpose. That what is the purpose for which you want to write a book? Let's take a look at the myth number 3. I need a publisher or a deal to write a book, right? Just like a celebrities. Well, in 20th century, that was true. Okay, if you just think about if you were born in 70s and 80s, if you had to access a book, you had to go to a library or go to a bookshop, because that was the era where only traditional publisher were there and they were having a control over the content. So definitely at that point of time, if you had to kind of publish a book, then you needed a traditional publisher. But in today's era, I mean, when 80% of the books are getting sold on Amazon, right? You don't need a traditional publisher. I mean, if you can get a traditional publisher, great. Of course, that has got a pros and cons of publishing and sell traditional publishing and self publishing. But really, you don't need a publisher or cut a deal to write your book, right? Once you write your book, we can then look at whether we have to go through the self publishing mode. I mean, there are so many successful stories of self publishing you'll not believe. You know, Robin Sharma's first few books were self published, right? So the point here is, until unless you don't, if your message will depend on people uh, like publisher to take to the world, then it is going to take a long time. The where you have to focus is what is your message and how quickly you can take to the world, and then you will get to know whether the message what you are transferring to the world, is there a need of that message or not. Okay, so you don't need a publisher in the era of Amazon Kindle publishing. You don't need a publisher. You can just have your book in an ebook form, and people can read it, right? You can also create a PDF. If you're not keen on building a business around it, you can write a book and you can share with the people. Okay, so let's move on to myth number 4. Myth number 4 is self-publishing is too expensive. You know, a lot of people think that way, but let me tell you, it again depends that what is that which you want to accomplish, right? Are you looking for something very classy cover design, or you are looking for a color printing inside? So self-publishing, again, it will depend on what is that which you are looking for. But the biggest advantage of the self-publishing is you can keep the royalty of your entire content, and the entire content's copyright also is with you. So if you ask my opinion, I would say for a first time author, the best way is to go self publishing. And then later, if you want to go traditional way, because you if you become an established author, then if you want, probably you can go traditional publishing way, right? So both have the pros and cons. If you ask my preference, I'm somebody who would love to do, even my second book, I'm getting it self published, so that I can have a control on my content, I can have a control on my royalty, I can have a control on my profits. Okay, so self publishing will depend. It's not expensive for sure. What I can tell you is it will definitely depend on the quality. So I mean, if you don't find a traditional publisher, I think going through the self publishing way would be a good thing, right? Let's look at the myth number 5. Books don't make money, right? A lot of people tell me books don't make money. This is absolutely wrong. Now, definitely I will agree that a book will not make you big money. So for example, let me give you my statistics. So if I sell a book on Amazon, right? And generally, I only sell my collector's edition. I don't have the paperback edition. I only have a hardbound edition of my book, because I ensure that people who hold my book in their hand, it should look classy of the international standard. So every book I sell through Amazon, at this point of time, the cost of my book is 600 rupees. I make 200 rupees out of it, which is roughly the cost of my publishing is somewhere close to 200 rupees is the charge by Amazon, and 200 rupees we make as a profit. But if I do sell it directly, then I don't have to give commission to Amazon. So if I sell one book, I make 400 rupees out of it. Okay, so saying, I mean, think about a 600 rupees product, out of which 400 rupees you make a profit. You sell 10 copies and you make straight 4,000 rupees, right? If you can sell it, but uh, still it's a small money, right? It's a small money. The major money what I make through by selling my coaching program, by selling my consultancy, by selling my speaking assignment. This is where, see, the point here is when you do a book, my friend, it is going to change your life. Imagine 2 years back, if I was in a corporate, I wouldn't have decided to quit everything. And because life was comfortable for me, I had a job income, which was coming from my corporate job. I was in a senior position, and was making a handsome money. Letting it go was difficult, right? I was making money through the trading and investing at the same time, so life was pretty much comfortable, right? And when you work in an organization for 10 years, anyway, you know ins and out of organization. But then there was a kind of a dead end there, right? That is the reason I took, for most of the people it will be a big risk of quitting a high paid job. But then for me, this is what I wanted to do. This is what I wanted to follow my passion, right? And in last 2 years, after I have written my book, the life has completely transformed. Otherwise I would have been sitting at the corner of a desk and sitting on the computer and doing the work which I have been doing, right? So books do make money, but more than that, the business what you create around it, trust me, my friends, book will sell in India, book will sell abroad, but that will get you customers who will need your advanced services and help. And this is what is happening right now with me. Okay, so book will not make you big money, but definitely book is more like a launch pad for you. Once you write the book, you have a product in hand. If you don't have any product with you, this could be your first product, and around this you can build your $1 million business. Okay, let's take a look at the myth number 6. I need to have a lot of content. Well, you don't need to have a lot of content. What I would say is, take a look at the literacy level of this country. So what you have to understand, you just learn this particular concept. So let us say this is your level. Okay, so there are people who are below you, and there are people who are above you, right? In terms of life, in terms of the results of their life. So what you have to do is, the people who are below you in terms of knowing a content and things like that, this is where you go educate them and sell your product. And people who are above you in your compared to your life, you go and learn from them, right? So I would not probably go and sell my product to Dr. John DeMartini. Rather, I will buy his product to improve myself, and this is what I have done. And every time when you do the self learning, as I said, that if you decide to read only 12 books in a year, trust me, your knowledge level will be more than 99% people in the world this year, because this year most of the people are not even going to read a single book. Okay, so you don't need a lot of content. You just have to think about a book. How many chapters a good book has? I would recommend, usually don't write more than 150 to 200 page book. My book is 250 pages because there is a certain reason there are certain formats and things like that. That is why my book has become big. But for a normal person, it is good to have 175 page to 200 page of a book, right? And you have to do one chapter at a time. Now, if you think about one chapter in a 200 page book, if every chapter has to be at 20 pages, right? Now, if you have to write 20 pages for one chapter, right? Don't you think with the experience you have gathered, the knowledge what you have acquired, I can tell you, out of 100 people who want to write book, 80% people think there is already a book inside them. Your personal story, some part of your life, you will figure out that you were a hero, right? And definitely you have a content around you. Whatever you want to write, whatever is your message, there are content already being written on that particular area. You know, you can pick up from there as well and write that into your own world. Okay. The next, so you don't really need a lot of content. Okay, your content is already with you. If you need content, you can look around, you can read about it, and then you can come back and you can write in your own word. However, if you want to start writing book, I would recommend that at least do a self learning of 1 to 2 hours every single day. Trust me, my friends, if you inculcate this habit, you will become influential in the world. Why? Because you are building a content inside you. Till today, you know, I ensure that every single day 1 to 2 hours I give for my self learning, even at this level, because that keeps you updated and that builds your knowledge, so that in any area of life you will know things. Okay, let's move on to myth number 7. I don't have time. I remember a very beautiful quote by Jim Rohn. uh, Jim Rohn says is, majority of the people are major in minor and minor in major. Hear it again. Majority of the people are major in minor and minor in major. Now, tell me one thing, whatever you are doing currently, if you will continue to do, will you be able to fulfill your dreams? If you will be able to fulfill your dreams, don't change anything. Everything is fine, you know. But if you are not able to fulfill your dream, then why don't you try this way? Because once you write a book is something which is going to be here forever. You know, your generations get to know that there was somebody who was an author in our family, and it is something which is going to transform your life. And I'm not telling you that you write a shabby quality book. You do a good job, you build a good content, and you ensure that the book which is coming out is going to be a very good book, right? So the excuse I don't have time, I don't buy it. Because if every single day you can give 1 hour for writing, your quality of writing is going to improve, right? You would have seen when people start writing, the first few pages they don't like, they crush it. You know, you would have seen that. Even when you were practicing how to type, that time also same problem was there. But if you can give this 1 hour to build your writing skills, my friend, trust me, Jim Rohn says, if you work long in your office, you will make a living. If you will work on yourself, you will make a fortune. Okay, so work on yourself. I don't know that whether you really want to write a book, but if you want to write a book, uh, you can reach out to me. You can discuss with me at any point of time, and I'm helping. I'm, as I said, I am helping 10 people to write their book, more like their project manager, and 2 people are already in progress, 8 more to go by Q1 of 2020. Okay, so if you are interested to take this challenge, you can reach out to me. You can write in a comment section, and I will look forward to it. Okay, and in my previous video, as I said, in my financial format video, you go and download the format. My weekly planning video, I have again uploaded the format in a description section. Go and download from there. And as I said, on the Sunday we are going to announce our winner who is very much engaged on this channel. So this is all I wanted to talk to you today. Thank you so much for listening to me, and I'll talk to you tomorrow again. Thank you so much.